Hey there, Mel Abraham here, the author of the #1 national best-selling book, The Entrepreneur's Solution, and the founder of Business Breakthrough Academy, where we teach you how to design a business and create a life of financial freedom and peace of mind. And welcome to this episode of the Entrepreneur Solution Show. And in this one, we're going to talk a bit more depth about mentorship and the kinds of mentors. In fact, the question that was raised was, are all mentors created equal? And I think the short answer to that is no. But we're going to dig down into what I call full spectrum mentoring, and when we get back right after this introduction. And just like every episode that we do, there's a downloadable guide, a downloadable tool with each and every episode. And in order to get it for this episode, make sure you go to melabraham.com/session 028. That's melabraham.com/session 028. And if you are not at your computer, or you're driving, or you're running, or you're at the gym, no problem. Make sure that you text, and do it safely. Make sure you text My Legacy, no spaces, one word, My Legacy, to 38470. We'll send you a download link right to your phone, so you'll have that reminder when you get back and are at your computer, so you can make sure they get the tools to do that. So we're going to get right back to it right after this brief introduction. We're going to talk about mentors and mentorship and full spectrum mentoring. See you soon.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Solution, where highly successful entrepreneur Mel Abraham becomes your entrepreneurial mentor. Here, Mel reveals his business building strategies and even gets a chance to answer your questions. Mel Abraham, a CPA by education, but an entrepreneur by exhilaration, and a true believer in the entrepreneurial way of life. It's through entrepreneurship that we create community, support society, and live our dreams. It's where possibility meets reality again, and you can have the life and lifestyle you want, one of freedom and peace of mind. Welcome to this episode of the Entrepreneur Solution, where it's time for you to be bold, dream big, and live life your way.
Hey there, and welcome back. I'm Mel Abraham, and welcome back to this episode of the Entrepreneur Solution Show. And this, as I said, this episode we're going to dig a little deeper into this concept of mentoring, and are all mentors created equal, or what do we look for in mentors? And let's just talk about for a moment, what is a mentor? Napoleon Hill talked about masterminds and that type of thing, and yet the reality is that I hear this term bantered about all the time about, they're a self-made millionaire, or they're a self-made billionaire, they're a self-made man or woman, and it's a complete bunch of it's a bunch of crap. I'm sorry about the language, but it's a bunch of crap, because fact of the matter is that I'm successful. It's sometimes in spite of myself, but I'm successful because of the people around me. Because of the people that helped me, because of the people that believed in me, because of the people that championed me, that cheerleaded for me. Everyone from colleagues and professional advisors to my beautiful wife, who's probably my biggest cheerleader, my biggest supporter in what I do. And she's also my biggest critic at times, and saying, hey, you can do better than that. And so to say that I'm self-made and everything, I think it's a fallacy. I mean, I think it does a disregard to the people that came into your life and taught you the lessons and supported you and championed you and cheerleaded you. And so that's why I don't buy into this concept of self-made per se. I think all success is really a team sport. It's created based upon the people around us. And so the concept of mentoring, the concept of masterminding, the concept of a support group, I think is alive, it's well, and it's a necessity for us to be at the highest level possible. We can only do so much, and yet when you find that you surround yourself with people that are at your level or above, that have high standards, that are willing to look you in the eye in a loving way and say, yeah, not so much. You're going to have to do better than that. And I know you got more in you. That's what this is about. And I think that we rise to the level of those that we're playing the game with. And our success is not a solitary pursuit. It is a pursuit amongst peers, amongst people. And so it becomes really important for us to understand who we're surrounding ourselves with, who it is that we're saying, hey, I want you in my corner, and here's why I need you in my corner, here's what I can do for you, and here's what I'd like you to do for me. And being clear and understanding of all of that. You know, the concept of mentorship, the concept of coaching, the concept of that is to allow someone who has ran the journey, who understands or has a new perspective and a different perspective, to shrink down the learning curve, to compress the learning curve so you don't make the same mistakes that they made. You know, a lot of my clients, the ones that I work with as as mentoring, and I don't take on very many one-on-one mentoring. I just don't have the time anymore, so I'm very selective. But the ones that I work with, you know, they come to me because they say, I know you've traveled the journey. It's 30 plus years, so, 3+ decades as an entrepreneur. You've seen some things. You know which levers to pull and which knobs to turn. You know how to do that. So I don't have to make those mistakes. Can you help me out? And that's what this is about. And so when you're looking for people to support you in your journey, people to help you bring your dreams alive, who do you look for? What do you look for in mentors? Now, I don't know what you personally might want to look for, but I can tell you what I look for. And the first things first is I want to know that they understand my vision, that they get where I want to go, that they see the importance to it, that they see the passion for it, they see that, and they not only understand it, but they're willing to run the miles with me, that they're really willing to be on that journey with me, that they're willing to take the call when I need to get that call in and say, hey, I'm lost for a moment, or I'm confused, or I'm unclear, or I'm uncertain, and that they're willing to do that because they have the bigger vision in mind. Because trust me, as an entrepreneur, we're going to get hit with challenges. We're going to get hit with obstacles. We're going to lose our ways at times. We're going to get confused. We're going to get disgruntled. We're going to get disappointed. We're going to get discouraged, and we need someone that is keeping that light on, that shining beacon light on that vision, and saying, hey Mel, do you remember what you're in this for? Hey Mel, do you remember the why? Hey Mel, think about and imagine what it's like when you get there. Hey Mel, I told you that you're going to have challenges like this. Now let's get up, dust yourself off, and let's keep on going. And that's why it's important for me to know that they not only understand my vision, but they get it and they're willing to fight for it just the same as me. I want to know that they have the same values as me. You know, the people that I work with, customers, vendors, team players, I focus a lot on their values. I want to know that we value the same things. I want to know that we have similar value systems, similar value structures, for a couple of reasons. One, I know that they'll always come from a place of values. And if we have similar values, I can relax a little bit because we value the same thing. But two, here's the other interesting thing. You know, I've said when we talk about hiring and we talk about building teams, that values first. I want to understand their values. I'm going to hire, I'm going to review, I'm going to reward, I'm going to do things based upon values. Skills are learnable in many cases. Skills are something that are the minimum entry to get in the door. But to create a culture, a cohesive, aligned team culture, there has to be an alignment in the values. And here's the cool thing. When you do it that way, and you're fulfilling your values, but they have similar values, they're fulfilling theirs too. So they fight for it with a lot greater fervor, a lot greater vibrancy, a lot greater energy, a lot greater commitment, because they're self-actualizing their own values in the process. So I want to know that the mentor has similar values to me. I want to know that they have ideals, that they have a vision, they have a desire to be more. I want to know that they have a belief system that is greater than that. And I want to know that exists and what it is with them. I want to know that they're accessible. I mean, what good is a mentor if I can't get to them and when I need to? And I'm not just talking about being able to pick up the phone or see them, but I'm talking about emotionally accessible, intellectually accessible, that they're open, that they're transparent, but they're direct. They're doing it with compassion. I don't want people that are in my life that just tell me what I want to hear. I don't want people that, they call them yes men and yes women. I don't need that. What I need is someone to tell me what it really is, to look at me and say, yeah, no, that's not the way to do it. Here's something that I think you could have done better. Here's how you do that. Now, granted, I may not take it well all the time, but that's going to serve me in the long run in a much greater way. So I want them to be emotionally accessible, intellectually accessible, spiritually accessible, and physically accessible. And then I also want them to be accountable. I want them to hold me to that higher standard, to not allow me to compromise my values, to not allow me to compromise my ethics, to not allow me to compromise my dream, to compromise my desire, to compromise what it is I'm trying to go for, and to not allow me to take things and say, God, it's difficult, so why don't I just shrink it down a little bit so I can be a little more puny and allow it to come out. No, I want them to encourage me and hold me accountable for what I set out to do, and to be the best I can be, to be the largest I can be, to be the boldest I can be in the process. So that's really what I look for in a mentor or a coach or someone, is vision, values, ideals, accessibility, and accountability. So here's the interesting thing. This question that came across was really about, are all mentors created equal? And I wanted to start off with this precursor of what I look for. And I know I've talked about it before, but at the same time, I want you to then now look at the way I look at mentors, and they are not created equal. And it's what I call full spectrum mentoring. It's a full spectrum mentor, because we're going to evaluate the different people. And I think there's 4 different types of people that you can have in your life, and you may want at least 2 of them, but likely all 4 of them, somewhere helping you out, somewhere focus on you. And we're going to evaluate them on 2 different premises: is how they know you and how they know your business. Their level of intimacy, their level of knowledge, their level of wisdom with respect to you and your business is how I categorize them. And so at the first, now let me be clear, I'm not making value judgments on any one of these, because they all serve a purpose. They all create value. It's just about us as individuals searching these people out, or these personalities, or these categories out, is to be clear as to what function they serve. When someone comes to me strictly for business advice, they're coming to me strictly for business advice. And I don't cross the line into personal relationships or things of that nature. So I want to define the boundaries of those relationships up front, and the way I define them is based upon their knowledge and experience and expertise with respect to my business or myself. And so at the first level, the first quadrant in this model is what I call a coach. And that coach, and I'm using the term maybe differently than what is typically used, but that's the title that I'm giving them because of how a lot of coaches operate. Many coaches have very little knowledge, specific knowledge of your specific industry, because they don't necessarily need to have the knowledge of the industry. They are very introspective, they're very insightful, they're very exploratory. They may not have the knowledge of you personally. They may not have this intimate relationship with you, so they don't know what makes you tick per se. But what the coach does is they draw it out of you. They ask questions, they work with you, they give you exercises, they give you frameworks, and they draw it out of you, and they pull it out of you, and they then through that process they may gain some more knowledge of you personally and your business. But at a coaching level, this is someone that I want in my game, in my corner, that's going to draw things out of me based upon a unique perspective that isn't tainted by some specific industry experience per se, or specific personal bent. They're very objective. They come at it very direct, and they draw that information out of me give me some resolution, give me some solutions, give me some guidance so I can make better decisions. So that's the first level is coach, where there's a low level of knowledge of my specific business and a low level of knowledge of me. Then the next is what I call a mentor. Now this is someone that has a tremendous amount of knowledge of my business, of industry expertise, of what I do or how I'm going to do it. But they have very little knowledge of me personally, what makes me tick, what drives me, my values, my quirks, any of that. But they have a high level of insight because of their business. And this is the kind of person that I'm going to go to when I need some very specific business advice that is specific to a specific business, a specific industry, a specific aspect of that industry. Maybe it's social media marketing, maybe it's video marketing, maybe it's business structuring, maybe it's business taxes. They have a tremendous level of knowledge to mentor me. They've gone through and ran the journey, and they've stepped in potholes, and I want to gain the benefits of that experience. So this other level is called mentors, what I call mentors. Then the third is what I call the allies. These are people that maybe don't have any experience in your business at all. But they know you really well. They've known you for years. They know what makes you tick. They know what aggravates you, what frustrates you, what drives you crazy. They know you intimately. So they have the ability to take and give you a perspective of you, an insightful perspective of you and what is driving you and what might be driving you and what your values are, and put that in context of whatever challenge or issue you're working with. So this ally has a high retrospection because they typically have known you for a while, and they have a high personal connectivity with you. So they know a lot about your personality traits and what's driving you. And then the last category is what I call the confidant. And the confidant is someone that has a tremendous amount of knowledge about your business, your industry, your what you're doing, but they also know you personally. So they've got both sides of the coin. They get what makes you tick. They know your quirks. They know your frustrations. They know your aspirations. They know the driving forces that are driving you in your personality. But they also know your business, and they can put those two together in a way that as they coach you. And now here's the cool thing and why I call it a confidant. Because they know you so well, you typically know them very well. And you'll share things at a deeper, more intimate level. Now, could this be a spouse or significant other? Absolutely it could. Now, in fact, any of these could. But more likely, your spouse's significant other, I would hope, would be an ally or confidant, because they're going to know you intimately. I would hope that they wouldn't be a coach or a mentor, because if your spouse or significant other doesn't know you intimately, when we have other issues to talk about, and that's not the topic for this episode. At any rate, the confidant knows you well and knows your business well, and you can share and go through the process. Now, I have a different perspective, and since we were talking about spouses, and I wasn't going to talk about this here, but I think it's important for me to just give you my perspective on this, because I was just speaking in New Orleans a few weeks ago, and I'm going back to speak in Indianapolis, and a gentleman came up to me in New Orleans. He says, "I'd like to bring my wife. She's not in my business, but I'd like her to be there, and I'm hoping that you don't have a problem with that." And I said to him, I said, "No, actually, I'd like her to be there. For most of my higher level mentoring programs, I want the partner there, because, and it's not because, like, my wife has her own business. She's got her own thing. She is a brilliant executive doing her stuff. So she's working 8-10 hours a day doing her thing. But when I'm going into some of these things, I want her there. And one, because I gain some perspective. But two, when I'm going through a challenging time, when I'm going through a difficult time, when I'm trying to navigate the rapids, and she sees the stress and she sees the frustration, and she says to me, "Honey, what's going on? Can I help?" I don't ever want the response to be, oh, you wouldn't understand. And the reason I say that is because I feel like when a spouse will look at the other, this confidant in my estimation, this ally, this cheerleader, this champion in your relationship, and say, oh, you wouldn't understand, it starts to create a gap, which becomes a chasm. And even if that partner doesn't have the ability to deal with and help you deal with the technical issues that you're dealing with, they have an understanding of the battle that you're in, and that helps you bring yourselves closer rather than separate yourselves. So I invite you to include your partners in some of these discussions, in some of these moments, so they're not an outsider and you're not pushing them away saying, oh, you wouldn't understand. They do understand you. They do understand you. They may not understand your business. That's okay, but they understand you, and don't put the wall up. So that was a little tangent, but I think it's important for us to think about this, and that we're not on this as an island. Like I said, success is not a solo effort. It's not a solo pursuit. It is a team. And if you are in a relationship, if you're in a committed relationship and you have partners, they need to be part of that team. And they may be in the confidant area, or they may be in the ally area, but allow them in, allow them to communicate, allow them to, even if they can't solve the problems, allow that communication to bring you guys closer together in the process. So here's the thing to think about with this. We got 4 different types of mentors, full spectrum mentoring. You got the coach, you got the mentor, the ally, and the confidant. I believe, and this is my belief only, I believe you need to have, or you should have, at least one in each category. It gives you a place to go. It gives you full spectrum. It allows you to be able to sit with different folks for different reasons and get perspective, to gain knowledge, to get wisdom, to get direction, and to have a place to go. And one of the challenges I talked about in my book is one of the mind traps is indecision. And one of the reasons we have indecision, or fear even, is a lack of information and a lack of support. Create your support. Create a group that is full spectrum mentoring, where you have someone that is a mentor, someone that is a coach, someone that's an ally, and someone that's a confidant. Create that, because I think that what you'll find in the process is you end up truly supported. You have different avenues to go, and that will make a huge difference. Now, in some cases, in many cases, you're going to have to pay them. To go into mentor or mastermind programs, typically that is something that you have to pay. Others, you might just have to serve for a while, and they just take you under their wing. Many times if you're getting angel investors, they become your mentor because they've got an investment, they got a vested interest in there. But finding the right ones, going through and making sure you've done your homework with the values and how they show up and all of that, and then figuring out what category they're going to be in your life will leapfrog you when it comes to success. So I'm a true believer that money spent on the right mentors, the right coaches, the right confidants, and the right allies is money well spent, because it's going to shrink your learning curve. It's going to allow you to be supported in your journey. They become your champions, they become your cheerleaders, and they become the people that will move you forward. And as you stand on that top of the hill, that you look at that mountaintop of success that you've had, you can look back and say, I did it because of you, and you. I know for me, for instance, there's no way that I would be where I'm at if it wasn't for a lot of people in my life. And I am truly, truly honored, truly, truly grateful for that. Just the same as I'm truly grateful and honored to have you sitting here listening and watching and being part of this community, because I couldn't do what I do if you weren't there. And so I feel blessed. I hope that you found this of value. Go out there and create that cocoon of mentors and people in your life that will support you on your journey. Reach out to them, build those relationships, build it up, because it is an investment of time and an investment of money well worth making. I hope you found this of value, and if you found it of value, please do me a favor, share it with a friend, especially this episode, because so many people need guidance in their life, and not because they have problems, but because we get caught in the details. But let's give them some tools, let's give them some perspective, let's allow them to get people in their lives that can make a difference. So share it with a friend, do me that favor, and if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe so you make sure that you get all the training, all the tools that I can get to you. That's the only way I can be your entrepreneurial mentor. Like I said, I don't take on too many one-on-one mentoring clients anymore. I do have my programs, but this is the best way to connect with me and allow me to connect with you on a regular basis. And if you have any questions that you have, you can ask them. Just go to askmelnow.com, leave me your question, and I'll make sure that I get it answered on one of the upcoming episodes. And remember to get the downloadable guide for this episode by going to melabraham.com/session028. And if you're not at your computer right now, you can text My Legacy, one word, no spaces, My Legacy, to 38470. We'll send you the download link so you can make sure that you have it when you get back to your desk or to your computer. So again, thank you for being with me on this. I hope you found it of value. I'll see you in the next episode. And until we get a chance, may your vision be grand, your journey epic, and your legacy significant. See you soon. Cheers. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you subscribe so you get access to all of Mel's business and success tips. And if you like this episode, share it with a friend. If you have a specific business or success question, you can ask it at www.askmelnow.com. Remember, it's all about being bold, dreaming big, and living life your way. Because the world needs you. Until the next episode, may your vision be grand, your journey epic, and your legacy significant.